Good morning, this is Mrs. Puri. For the science activity today, we'll be looking at climate change. As you're aware, the world leaders have gathered in Glasgow to conduct COP26. COP26 is about tackling climate change, which is affecting the whole world. What I'd like you to do now is to look at this picture as a tutor group and decide what is the message this picture gives you. Get your tutors to post a picture and have a discussion. Once you have decided what it is, inform your tutor and see if you are correct. This picture is about Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement was made between 200 countries on the 12th of December 2015. This was where, for the first time, the world leaders and nations came together as united front. In this agreement, it was agreed to cut down greenhouse gases which lead to global warming. It was also agreed that the temperature increase by 2100 will be to 1.5 degrees rather than 2 degrees. This level will be in with pre-industrial levels. What I'd like you to do as a tutor group is to have a quick discussion of what is the future for the Earth. Can scientists reduce the greenhouse gases emission to save the planet climate change? As the politicians around the world are tackling and discussing what can be done to save the planet, at the same time the scientists at Cambridge University and other universities around the world are looking into the plans and techniques to save the planet. So at Cambridge Universities, they have now set up a research centre which will develop new ways to repair the Earth's climate. They have suggested the following techniques which they are working on at present. Refreezing the Earth's core, which is called ocean spraying. Carbon capture and storage, which is also known as CCS, and also ocean greening. So what does ocean spraying mean to you? What they're planning to do is refreeze the poles, which is basically brightening the clouds above us. The idea is to pump seawater up tall mass on unscrew ships through the very fine nozzles. These will produce tiny droplets of salt, which will inject into the clouds and make them more wider and reflective, so it cools the area below them. The second idea is called CCS. Capture, carbon and store. This idea involves capturing the carbon dioxide emissions and then changing them into synthetic man-made fuels. So what they're trying to do is to get as much carbon dioxide, they're going to try to suck it out of the atmosphere, capture it and then synthesize into man-made fuel, which then can be used to fuel transportation or other means of transport. So the scheme involves having a plant. Plant means a building on site that will convert the carbon emissions that will be produced by that company. And what they will do will use sources of hydrogen, the source of carbon dioxide, mix it with heat and renewable electricity, and they will use all of these to then change them into man-made synthetic fuel. The final idea that has been looked at by Cambridge University is ocean greening. Ocean greening is where we use photosynthesis to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. In this technique, iron particles are dropped into the sea by ships. The job of the iron is to stimulate algae production. As algae is grown and is produced on the top of the sea, it easily absorbs carbon dioxide by photosynthesis. After looking into these areas of research that are going on at this university and many other universities around the world, the question mark is, if we don't get these ideas working in enough time, will climate change still be an issue for us? Finally, another idea is batteries the solution to net zero emission? This idea is being researched by manufacturers of batteries and more at industrial level rather than at university level. The world leaders in Glasgow are looking at reducing the emissions to net zero by 2070. Net zero means there will be no carbon emissions let out in the atmosphere. Today, roughly a third of the greenhouse gases emission comes from burning fuels for road, air and marine transport. We need to halve these emissions for transport by 2040. The other thing we need to be starting to do is use wind and solar energy as the main source by 2040. When wind and solar energy is generated, we will have to design batteries that will be able to capture that energy and store it for the near future. We can then release this energy when we need it. Another way to limit the temperature increase to 2 degrees will be to create faster batteries, manufacture them, which will be more fuel cells type, and more solar panels and more microinverter based batteries. At present, the lithium ion batteries are the most dominant type of batteries. The issue with lithium batteries is that it takes a long time to create and manufacture lithium and nickel.